everyone, and welcome. As Mike said, we're Team SoundStir. My name is Rachel Koehn. I'm a senior strategic communication student here at Mizzou.
My name is Alix Carruth. I'm a junior StratCom student graduating in December.
Hey, I'm Manav Singhal. I'm Master in Computer Science, graduating next May.
My name is Kristofferson, Culmer. I'm a doctoral candidate in computer science.
And our fifth and final team member is Nguyen, who wasn't able to be here with us today. But we actually have one more person that we'd like to introduce you to. Meet Ren. It's an average Tuesday afternoon in Como, and 22-year-old Ren's 2-hour capstone course just got out, which means it's time for Chipotle. As he heads downtown, he pulls out his phone, plugs in his headphones, and opens his podcast player. He navigates to his favorite podcast, Snap Judgment. Snap Judgment actually got Ren into public media in the first place, and now, 2 years after he started listening, he's hooked. As a college student, Ren is a habitual multitasker and a world-class procrastinator. He actually has a term paper due in less than 24 hours, but he's choosing entertainment, connection, and food over academics. 60% of the time, this works for him every time.
As the episode plays, Ren gets really into the story. When the episode's over, he starts to draft a text message to one of his buddies, but quickly realizes that that buddy is just not going to get it. He considers posting on Facebook, but he's afraid of sounding kind of lame for liking public media. Twitter's not enough characters to get Ren's opinion across, and no one really uses Tumblr anymore. Ren needs conversation stat. He's opened and closed every single social media app on his Samsung Galaxy S5 and is yet to find a community where his quirky public media interests won't get lost in a sea of selfies. Without a platform for interacting with other people around public media content, this is where Ren's story ends.
We've created a solution that allows Ren's story to continue. We call it SoundStir. SoundStir is the only mobile community for public radio listeners. As users consume content in the app, they connect with other people who share their listening habits. So the point of the app then is to create a space for people to interact with each other around public media content. Essentially, SoundStir is a social medium for public media.
It's important to note here that people can't interact with each other in our app without first interacting with the PMP content that we serve them. When Ren first downloads the app, the first thing he's going to do is listen to news, audio, or podcasts from all 5 of the PMP providers. The content that he listens to's provider, topic, and user-assigned rating is going to get stored in our database, and then our matching algorithm on the back end is going to connect Ren with other users who have the similar listening preferences and access histories as Ren. In this case, it's going to be Brittany and Katie. When Ren decides to connect with Brittany and Katie, he can chat with them and share content in our messaging feature. As Ren continues to connect with more and more people in the app through his experience, he's going to build a mobile community around the public media content that he loves.
And now for the moment of truth, guys. I'm going to take you through the typical user experience of SoundStir. And so the typical user is going to come to our login screen, and they're going to log in. But it's interesting to note that new users to the app won't be prompted to log in. They'll be taken right to their dashboard that's behind me. And when they try to interact with more advanced features of SoundStir, then they'll be prompted to create a user profile. But we wanted people to be able to jump in and begin consuming content as quickly as possible. So somebody wants to begin consuming content, and they're taken to our play screen. They're taken to our play screen, and they can begin listening to public media. I'll turn that down. And so on our media player screen, this is where the heart of SoundStir, of what makes SoundStir works. We have our media player up top. Users can rate content on our ratings bar down below, but the most important part is probably the start a conversation feature. And so this is where a user's connections who have listened to the same piece of content are going to appear. And SoundStir is going to prompt them to begin having conversations over that public media. Also, once a day, SoundStir, through our matching algorithm, is going to present the user with new possible connections based on the public media that they've already consumed. So if I want to start a conversation here with my friend Manav about this piece of content, I'm going to go to our chat screen, and I'm going to say something like, public media is really cool. Send. And so Manav can respond and say, yeah, it's really cool. And so, I might ask, anything else you like? And Manav's going to respond. And we can continue this conversation. For as long as possible. But the point is that SoundStir presents real content to real people and enables them to have real conversations. There are a plethora of other features in SoundStir, but we're just going to skip through that for the rest of our presentation. And so, also with the SoundStir app, what we wanted to do was we wanted to provide a wealth of information, not just for our users, but also to the PMP. And when we looked at the PMP in terms of public media, we looked at it in terms of public media, the platform, and public media, the partners. With respect to the partners, we realized we're in the big era of data, with big data analytics. And so we wanted to use SoundStir as a medium to archive all of the user interactions possible. Ratings, likes, dislikes, user histories, skips. Any sort of interaction that's going to happen in the app, we're going to record. And this is going to provide a public media with the ability to mine that data and learn more about their audience. What's going on beneath the surface. With respect to the platform, this is going to provide public media, the platform, with novel information about its content, how content relates to content, how content relates to people, geographic location and time of day. And so this really is going to take public media into the digital era.
Here is our matching algorithm of our app SoundStir that allows people to connect with the community which has the similar preferences, who listen to similar news content. So here's a brief overview of our matching algorithm. How does it work? So for example, if there's a person who is listening to news and culture, and there are people like who listen to arts and music, politics, so based on their preferences, the news content they listen to, we calculate a matching score, which tells us whether any two connections, they have any matching score, there's a similarity between their preferences or not. Now, coming to the particular news category, for example, there are many people which listen to the same news and culture. So our algorithm basically calculates a matching score, which can tell us like whether Katie and Ren, they are connected or not. And once it is there, so a person, whenever he uses SoundStir, he can see these connections, and he can easily connect to these and make a messaging and chat with these connections.
We wanted to make sure that the technology behind our app was designed with a specific target market in mind. Ren and other 18 to 24-year-olds just like him. These are students or young professionals who already consume public media content, whether it be once a day, numerous times a day, a few times a week, or even less frequently. Ren and people just like him, they live like Rachel said, live very fast-paced lifestyles. They're always on the go, always doing more than one thing at once, and we wanted to make sure that SoundStir fit into that. So our app only serves audio content from the PMP rather than the video and text content to ensure that we can meet them where they're at and seamlessly integrate into the lifestyle that they already have, rather than interrupting how their day is already going and having them do something else. We're aware that the media player function of our app isn't what's going to get our target market's attention. There's a lot of other media players out there, different apps that they could do the media player function from. But SoundStir creates a social community that none of those other apps have. So we don't want Ren to feel lame for liking Snap Judgment and trying to post on Facebook. We don't want him to be limited to 140 characters on Twitter to get his opinion across. And we definitely don't want him to resort to using a blogging service like Tumblr that no one really uses for that purpose anymore. We want Ren to be able to use SoundStir and to easily find people just like him who understand public media.
So why did we select this target market? Well, we selected them primarily because the 18 to 24-year-old demographic is largely missing from the PMP's current audience. Public media needs to become more accessible for this target, and we think that SoundStir can really make that happen. SoundStir integrates seamlessly into Ren's lifestyle, which means that public media will integrate just as seamlessly into his lifestyle. So Ren will gain this public media community within the app, and public media will gain a lifelong listener and contributor.
There's also a culture of sharing within our target market that we think is going to be really valuable, not only for SoundStir, but for the public media platform. Not only are young adults and young professionals compulsive sharers, but public media consumers share even more. 58% of NPR listeners share like new tech products with their friends through recommendations. That just kind of shows us that there's a high probability that SoundStir would be shared between members of our market, and also, outside of that age group necessarily, and onto people who don't already consume public media. SoundStir just essentially has a social community that no other apps in our market have. We create a social community inside of our app so that users don't have to exit our app to get what they're looking for. To put it simply, SoundStir just takes the next step in podcast app technology.
So we designed SoundStir a particular way for particular reasons. So we chose to make it a mobile app because 85% of our target market has smartphones, which means they're reachable on that platform. We chose Android because there are actually more Android users in the 18 to 24-year-old market than there are iOS users, but we would eventually like to expand to iOS. And then finally, we chose a messaging app because messaging is the future in the social and mobile spheres. So public media has been in the digital space, and they've even been in the mobile space, but SoundStir adds a social dimension that public media has not seen before. And so this app is really going to launch public media into the social landscape alongside some of the most innovative mobile technologies. We have a variety of awesome future functions planned for SoundStir. We're not going to go into them with you today just for the sake of time, but just be excited about the future of SoundStir and what we have to offer for you coming up.
30 minutes ago, Ren had reached the end of his podcast and was at a total dead end without a platform for conversation. With SoundStir, we can allow his story to continue. So Ren's going to find real stories, he's going to find real people, and he's going to have real conversations. Welcome to the only mobile community for public media listeners. Thank you.